This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
Kenna Morrison was a big reason the Moses Lake Police Department has a second patrol canine, and on Friday, the two met for the first time.
Nason Ridge still stands proud above Lake Wenatchee, although this last legislative session didn't grant the protections that were sought for it.
Students at North Elementary in Moses Lake should have no excuse not to read over the summer thanks to a special delivery on Friday from Big Bend student-athletes.
The Moses Lake Chiefs softball team held its own fate in its hands going into the matchup with the Eisenhower Cadets on Wednesday.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Kenna Morrison was a big reason the Moses Lake Police Department has a second patrol canine, and on Friday, the two met for the first time.
Hi there. How's it going? This is Rex.
Last year, Kenna set out to raise money to purchase the second canine, and in just a month, Slime by Kenna, with some help from local businesses, raised an amount that shocked the police department, $20,275, which she presented to the department in September. On Friday morning, Kenna was invited to the police department to meet Canine Rex, a new addition to the department that wouldn't have been possible without Kenna's efforts.
I'd like to thank Kenna Morrison for raising over $20,000 for this project. Paid for a good chunk of this dog. I think the overall cost of the dog and all the equipment's about $90,000. So obviously she took a big chunk out of that. We couldn't have done it without her and the support of other people in the public.
Canine Rex, a 14-month-old Belgian Malinois, has been partnered with Officer Brad Zook, and the two head to training in Spokane next week and are expected to hit the road next month. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by...
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination, from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
Nason Ridge still stands proud above Lake Wenatchee, although this last legislative session didn't grant the protections that were sought for it. Senator Brad Hawkins' bill to establish a community forest pilot project, which would have managed some public lands like Nason Ridge in partnership with local communities, passed strong in the state Senate, but it never came to a vote in the House. It might have offered extra protection to Nason Ridge, a 3,700-acre forest land recently purchased by the Western Rivers Conservancy. But now, if Chelan County and others can develop a management plan by December 1st, future legislation might endow a community forest program with needed money. Formerly owned by timber firm Weyerhaeuser, the Ridge land was at one time slated for heavy logging, but Weyerhaeuser agreed to sell to conservation interests, and the Chelan Douglas Land Trust raised $1 million toward the effort. The Ridge is now held in trust, while a permanent owner is found. Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by...
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
Students at North Elementary in Moses Lake should have no excuse not to read over the summer thanks to a special delivery on Friday from Big Bend student-athletes. College student-athletes from both the men's and women's basketball teams and the volleyball team made a special trip to the school to deliver more than 600 new books. Students were able to pick from a number of age-appropriate books to take home. The book delivery is part of Big Bend's Magic of Storytelling partnership with First Book, a nonprofit organization that provides new books to educators and organizations serving children from low-income families. Big Bend student-athletes will also be making a visit to Larson Heights Elementary for a similar event later this month. This is now the third year of Big Bend's Magic of Storytelling book distribution, which has now provided more than 4,000 new books to Moses Lake students. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
The Moses Lake Chiefs softball team held its own fate in its hands going into the matchup with the Eisenhower Cadets on Wednesday. West Valley of Yakima led the division by a half game, but a sweep by the Chiefs would tip the scales in their favor. That's exactly what they got, sweeping Eisenhower by the score of 11-1 in both games of the doubleheader. The fourth place Cadets put up a fight against the Chiefs, scoring in the first inning of each game. That didn't stop the Chiefs from winning via mercy rule in both matchups, even if it took until the bottom of the fifth in the first one. Now, with a 9-1 conference record, the Chiefs only need to win one of the two games against West Valley on Friday to clinch the league crown and home field advantage through districts. Pitchers Dina Skinner and Savannah Ashley each started the game on Wednesday. They combined for 7 strikeouts with 2 hits and 2 runs, only 1 earned.
Well, we just know that the end game is to beat West Valley, and we would like to win as many games as we can, and we want to keep that momentum going for West Valley, and that's the biggest thing. It was very important that we kept our energy up and we didn't underestimate them, and our word for this week was finish, and so I believe we did that tonight.
West Valley comes to Moses Lake on Friday in a doubleheader where the first game will begin at 4 p.m. and the second game will begin at 6 p.m. The series will act as the de facto league championship. I am Adam Chikoski for iFIBER 1 Sports.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at ifiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.